welcome to the Cow Emporium. It's been 21 days since I last sifted my breeder bucket of worms here. There's breeding age worms that have been in here for 21 days doing their thing and producing cocoons. And I'm gonna just sift through there and get the cocoons out and set them up for another 21 days and put the worms someplace warm and hopefully get them hatching. And I'll just kind of show you the process here. So if you're a gardener or a worm farmer or just anything like that, always be on the lookout for different size screens. You'll use them for sorting seeds or worms or something sooner or later. So I've got a nice 1/4-inch mesh screen. This fits inside a 5-gallon bucket. And this is halfway between a 1/4 and an 1/8. I think it's a 3/16 just off the top of my head, which is nice and handy. And these ones here are 3/32. And I had to make this one, and if you think that isn't a lot of work, this is a 1/8. And I just should have, next time I'll just not be so cheap and order one online. So sifting worm cocoons, they'll go through a 1/8, most of them will, but they won't go through a 3/32. So I try and sift out most of the coarser stuff, so I'm not mucking with that. And then I'll sift the cocoons out with the 1/8 and the finer stuff out with the 3/32. So most of this stuff was finally sifted going into this bucket. So it should pass through the screens fairly easy. The reason I'm counting the worms is I think I actually have too many in here. I think you're supposed to have about 100 worms to the gallon to make the best use of your breeding size and whatnot. And I think I have more than that. But we're going to do a count and see what's here and have a good look at them. I was gifted these worms, and I think that they are, for the most part, red wigglers. They're not all quite of breeding age yet, because this is just the second time I've gone through this and done them. So some of them are still getting to be old enough. I don't know if I have blues in here or not, but they seem to be pretty happy. One's got kind of a yellow tail. I think he's a red wiggler. So what I'm looking for here is the clatellum, which is the band that's around kind of the neck on the worms. Let's see if I can find you a good example of that. So as I sorted through the mass here, this is a couple of worms having a date night. That's what they look like when they're getting ready to produce cocoons. They kind of attach in the middle there, and then when they're done, they go their separate ways. So that's a good sign, seeing that right off the bat. You see that band there, that's the clatellum, or the clatella, and that's, when that's changed color and pronounced, then you know that the worms are old enough that they're of breeding age. When they're younger than that, it's pretty hard to tell where it is or what it looks like. All right, so we're gonna sift out some of the castings here. We're not going to overdo it. You can see we're trying to leave most of the worms behind, and we're just trying to get the eggs out of there. The odd one or two will fall through, and we'll try and rescue them as we go. And we'll be sifting this through a finer screen again. just doing a rough screen to get the big worms and the larger unprocessed material out of the way. Yeah, I've got way more worms in my breeder bucket than I need, so we're gonna downsize the number of worms in there. We'll put them into the, ooh, that's a big one. Look at that. Nice. So the worms that we have too many of, we'll just put them in my regular compost bin. And we'll try and keep the biggest ones for the breeder bucket here. Quarter-inch screen gave us a nice bunch of castings there. And this is the bigger material and a bunch of big worms. And guy could use this as it is, but I'm trying to build my worm population, so I'm going to screen it again and get it a little bit more manageable for trying to get the cocoons out. I'm going to run it through a 3/16 screen again, just to try and get out most of the big worms. The quarter-inch screen did a really good job of taking those adult worms out of there. I only found a couple. This is the stuff that went through the quarter but didn't go through the 3/16. And I only found a couple that got missed. So that's good news, because quarter-inch screen is readily available. Quarter-inch hardware cloth at the lumber yard. So that's good to know. Guy can easily make a quarter-inch screen and have it useful. Just need to find some 1/8 readily available. That would be nice. I'm going to sift this with the smaller one now and take off the stuff that's too small to be cocoons. Pretty hard to have enough containers when you're doing this job. You always need one more for something. All right, this is a 3/32 screen. So anything I sift through here, I'm going to keep for castings for plants and stuff. There shouldn't be hardly any cocoons in there. It should be just nice, finely sifted worm castings. So after that sift, I'm left with two different thicknesses of material here. This is the fine stuff. These are super nice worm castings here. I'm gonna save these with my worm castings in the container that I built earlier today. Now the odd cocoon probably snuck through that 3/32 screen, but we're not going to worry about it. And now we're going to screen the cocoons out of this. It'll just kind of inoculate this bunch of worm castings. If it's in there, it won't hurt anything. Just try and get as many as we can. Because that's the purpose of today's exercise. Oh, somebody's plants are going to love this stuff. Nice. So the 1/8 is the important size of screen. It should let most of the cocoons fall through, and anything that's larger that doesn't go through, we're going to put it in with our worm castings that went in the with that finer stuff. So more sifting. Yeah, there's a ton of cocoons in here. So they're little tiny, they're kind of yellow, they're lemon kind of colored to start with, and then they turn maroon. There's one right in the middle of the screen there, and I'll see if I can point a couple more out here. That's a worm cocoon, and each of these cocoons has like, I don't know, 1 to 6 eggs in it. And there's another one there, 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 another one there. This was just 2 little handfuls that I sifted through. the 1/8 screen. So yeah, now that you can see, there's just thousands of them in here. There's some more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, there's one that's a little bit older. It's darker in color. Yeah, there's a whole bunch in here. So I'll keep sifting these guys out, and yeah. So I've set up another pail here. This has got about 1 gallon of potting soil in it. And I'm gonna put these in there with some leaf mold and put them inside to give them a chance to hatch out. That'll take some time. I'm just not exactly sure how long it'll take with these kind of worms and temperatures and everything, but we'll keep you apprised on what's happening.